Hey guys, what's up? I am back, and today I'm going to be doing this is going to be a 3 round mock draft for all 32 teams. Today will be round one, just like day one of the NFL draft, and tomorrow's video, which should go up on Easter, will be day two of the draft, so that will be rounds two and three. Um, I just want to get in here and try to wrap myself around maybe the mindset of every single team. So let's jump right into here. I will be doing trades if I see an opportunity where maybe I could move up, or with a team maybe like the Vikings that could be looking to move down. I will absolutely be looking for opportunities to do that. So sitting on the board here for the Titans, I think this is kind of a consensus to just go Cam Ward here. I don't I don't think they have any other option here. They could go with Abdul, but they do have an offensive-minded head coach. I think he'd probably lean more to getting his guy. He made it very clear publicly that he was not into Will Levis. So I will be taking Cam Ward here. And this right now, this is going to be what I would do, this 3 round mock. It is hard to do outside of the first round. It's really hard to do predictive mocks. I will try to get a mock draft up on Wednesday or Thursday, just a full first round mock. Maybe trades, not sure. Just trying to be predictive to see what I think will happen. But this right now is just what I would do personally. So, yeah, I think Cam Ward is the best pick there for the Titans. I think they clearly need to move on from Will Levis. He's not their guy. If they want to ship him off to Seattle, I'm happy with that. I like Will Levis. So on the clock here with the Browns, it seems right now the consensus is Travis Hunter, which is very interesting to me. I think Abdul Carter is the clear better pick here. Pairing him up with Myles Garrett is an unbelievable pick. I really like it. I think they do need some edge help. And I'm going to go with Abdul Carter here for the Browns. I just don't see taking Travis Hunter. I think they already have a pretty solid cornerback room. So Travis Hunter would probably be mainly playing a wide receiver for them, his first year at least. And I don't like that for Travis Hunter. I think he should stay at pure cornerback. So I am going to go with Abdul Carter here at pick 2 for the Browns, and hopefully he can work out for them. I know he has some of the injury concerns, but now we're sitting on the clock here for the Giants. I don't see the Giants taking a quarterback. I don't see the Browns taking a quarterback either. I think maybe they could be the team to move up and allow the Vikings to trade back if maybe Shedeur falls, or if they really like Jackson Dart or Jalen Milroe, they could possibly move up. There's Tyler Shook's agents are working overtime trying to get him drafted high. But I don't see the Giants taking a quarterback here. They signed Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston. I don't think they would have agreed to sign with the Giants if one of them knew that they could potentially be the third QB on that team. And they did just extend Tommy DeVito. I don't understand doing all that, getting 3 QBs on your roster just to take one at number 3 overall. Just doesn't make sense to me. And I don't think Shedeur, if Cam Ward falls to number 3, that is a different story. Absolutely, you take him there. I think he is a great fit with Dable. If they want to trade up to 1, sure. I don't think they'd do that with who they signed and how they were aggressively trying to get Aaron Rodgers and Matthew Stafford in the offseason. So here, I think Travis Hunter is just the best player available here. He could be cornerback 1 for them, and he could play some snaps in the red zone at receiver. I know Travis Hunter came out and he said he wants, if he's not being used on both sides of the ball, he wants to retire, and he'd rather retire than play in the NFL if he's not on both sides. Kid, calm down. Knock it off. You are not in the league yet. He's so entitled, the mindset. You can't do that. Would you rather be an okay player at two positions or really good at one position? Take the really good player. Do what your coach says. I'm going to go with Travis Hunter. Hopefully they don't force him out at wide receiver, but I like him at cornerback there. Now, sitting here at number 4 with the Patriots, I might do something a bit unconventional. Will Campbell has kind of been the consensus pick here at number 4, which I think it's fine. I don't see, I really don't see Vrabel taking a guard in the top 4. I don't know if that's going to happen. What Vrabel does love is his Derrick Henrys, his guys that could break tackles. He loves the run game. And who could provide that for them? Mr. Ashton Jeanty. I really love Ashton Jeanty. I think at this point on the board, he is probably best player available outside of Will Johnson. Will Johnson is my number 1 player on the board in the class. But Ashton Jeanty, I think, is just an exceptional pick here. I don't think he gets past the Raiders here, and I think Patriots getting a really good running back to help out young Drake May. And this is a deep O-line class, so you could dip early in the second, and I think you would be perfectly fine. I am going to take Ashton Jeanty here at number 4. Bit unconventional, but that is a pick that I really do like for them, and I think it does help them out a lot in the long run. Because looking at Ashton Jeanty, people have been concerned about kind of his wear and tear. I don't think any team is looking at Ashton Jeanty as a decade-long running back for their team. I think you look at Ashton Jeanty as, am I willing to spend the number 4 overall pick for 4 to 5 years of really, really good running back play? I'm saying absolutely. I don't think when you draft Ashton Jeanty, there's any intention of giving him an extension after the 4 or 5 years. I think you ride him out for 4 years and then let him walk. You get maybe a 3rd or 4th round comp pick for him, and you're good. So sitting here at number 5, Mason Graham is the consensus for the Jaguars. I have been looking at Tetairoa McMillan. They did lose Evan Ingram, so Tyler Warren is definitely an option. But, old but gold. I'm just going to roll with Mason Graham here. They really need to help out their defensive interior. Right now, they have a pretty solid edge group. But on the interior, I don't think there's anyone there that I really love. Let me actually check who they have on their interior here. They do have Eric Armstead, really Mason Smith, I do like him quite a bit, but he is more of a developmental prospect. I don't think he's going to be taking that step forward here this early. I think getting Mason Graham kind of allows him to step in to a starting role and lets Mason Smith kind of develop a little bit more. Get him in a rotation. I think that would be much, much better for him. So Mason Graham is going to be my pick here for the Jaguars. Now, sitting here at number 6 with the Raiders. Now, this is tough. This is usually an Ashton Jeanty pick for most people. He is not on the board. I have looked at Jahdae Barron as a pick. Maybe the Devin Witherspoon for Pete Carroll. I have looked at Jihad Campbell. I think probably not Will Johnson, but Nick Emanwari. Where do they have Nick Emanwari? Oh my goodness. They have Nick Emanwari at 67. Oh my goodness, that is so disrespectful. Oh my goodness. I need to take a screenshot of that. Oh my goodness. Wow, that is disrespectful. I just frazzled my hair. Wow, that is so disrespectful to have Nick Emanwari at 67. Wow, I can't believe that. But one player I am going to take here is Armand Membou. I think he is probably best player available outside of Will Johnson, of course. Armand Membo is really really good. He is really good. I think he's easily the best right tackle in the league. They do have DJ Glaze at right tackle right now, but DJ Glaze coming out, he was mainly a left tackle. His 3 years in college, he did play a few games at right tackle, but mainly a left tackle in college, and he was really good at that. I would love to move him over to his natural position. Colton Miller, he is very good, but he is aging, and he only has 1 year left on his deal. So I think this season, move DJ Glaze over to that backup left tackle role. He could step in if Colton gets hurt, and then could be your left tackle of the future while you have Armand Membo as your right tackle right now. Or if you want, you could draft Membo, put him at right guard for right now, and have DJ Glaze stay at right tackle, because he was pretty decent, pretty solid at right tackle this past season. And honestly, the Raiders right guard, I believe it's it's Alex Kappa. I think they have Dylan Parham is I can't remember if Dylan Parham is their left or right guard, but either way, I think Membo could step into that right guard role, and Alex Kappa, I'm not a fan of his at all, so I think that would probably be the best option, would be for him to step into right guard, move over to right tackle, be that franchise guy, and then have DJ Glaze move over to his natural position. I'm going to do that here. Geno never got O-line help when he was in Seattle, and he's going to get some here in Las Vegas. Now, we're on the clock at number 7. This is interesting. If Membo was here, I would have taken him to the Jets. I think that would have been a really easy pick. Let's see. So we got Aaron Glenn, and Aaron Glenn could be looking to get his Terrion Arnold or his Cooper DeJean. I don't think Starks goes this early. Will Johnson is an intriguing player to work across from Sauce. They did lose DJ Reed. I do think that is intriguing. I don't know if they're going to take cornerback this high. And I don't think they need a quarterback. I think they just paid Justin Fields. Not a ton, but I think they're going to roll with him for 1 year. Just kind of a test run to see what Aaron Glenn can do. I think looking at the edges in this class, I think edge, or maybe getting someone next to Quinnen Williams. They do have Derek Nottie there on the interior, but I think getting someone across from Quinnen is going to be a really good move, and that is probably something I will address later in the draft. I don't know if there's anyone on the interior that I would want to take here in the early first. We can look over at edge. I think Shamar Stewart is really fun. Mykel Williams is really fun. I think Mykel works really well in a 4-3 defense, and this might be a bit of an unconventional pick, but I think I am going to go with Mykel Williams. He has the tools. He is a very good player. I like Mykel Williams here at pick number 7 for the Jets. I like Aaron Glenn getting that really solid pass rusher across from Will McDonald. And they do have Jermaine Johnson, but I mean, I'm not going to pass on a potential superstar because I have Jermaine Johnson. I'm not going to do that. So now we're sitting on the board at number 8 for the Carolina Panthers. Now, this could also be an edge. They desperately need edge. I think their starting edges are Tershawn Wharton and DJ Wonnum. So looking at edge, I think Shamar Stewart could be a really fun pick here. He had a hell of a combine. He's got all the tools. Didn't necessarily have the great production in college, but look at the tape. I think he's fun. People knock him for his lack of sacks in college, but he's not a guy that's going out to get sacks. That's not really his role. Um, I like him just what he does, and I'm not going to ask him to be that 15 sack a year guy. Um, this could also be Jihad Campbell. I think getting a linebacker could be good for them. Jalen Walker is on the board, and that does seem to be the consensus for Carolina is Jalen Walker. Um, Gets them some help on the edge. And I personally like Jalen Walker staying at linebacker in the NFL. I don't want him to move to edge. And the Panthers, right now, I don't think they should take a linebacker in the first. They have Christian Roseboom and Josie Jewell, who I think they're good to start. They have Trayvon Wallace, the kid out of Kentucky from this past season. I think they also stole John Radigan from the Seahawks, former Seahawk. So I do like their linebacker room right now. I mean, really, I don't love their secondary. I think didn't they just pay J.C. Horn? They have Mike Jackson as their cornerback too, who I do like him, but not really as a starter anymore at this point in his career. I think they have Chow Smith Wade, the Wazoo guy, as their nickelback. So that could be an option. Maybe Jahdae Barron is someone they could target here to be that starting nickel. So for me, it probably is between Jalen Walker and Jahdae Barron. But since I do think Jalen Walker should stay at linebacker, and I like their linebacker room, and this is what I would do. This is not predictive. This is what I would do. So I am going to go with Jahdae Barron here for the Panthers to be that starting nickel. I do like Chow Smith Wade. I just don't think he should necessarily be thrown into that starting position. I'm going to take Jahdae here at number 8 for the Panthers. Now we're sitting here on the board at number 9. And do we really have to think about this too much? I mean, Shedeur Sanders is on the board for the Saints here. Derek Hall, Jesus. Derek Carr does have the injury concerns. They don't know if he's going to start this season. Spencer Rattler, not great, especially with Kellen Moore coming in. Is he going to want his guy? Probably. I don't think Jake Haener is going to do anything for them. Or Ben DiNucci, probably not. You could look, if Genty was still on the board, I think he could be an intriguing candidate for someone to move up if the Saints wanted to move back, acquire a few more picks. You could look at Ted McMillan. They really have the one wide receiver. They have Chris Olave. I know they have Brandon Cooks, who is aging. They have Rashid Shaheed, but some real injury concerns in their wide receiver room. So Ted McMillan could be someone they could go after. But right now, I'm going to go with Kellen Moore just going and getting his guy in Shedeur Sanders. And if he doesn't work out, that would suck. You could always end up trading him, I think, because he does have a solid floor. I think some teams would be willing to trade for him. And if the Saints end up with a top 5 pick next season, then take a QB. Take a QB, trade Shedeur for 2 second-round picks. You're good. You're good. Take Shedeur right now, and hopefully he can work out for you. Now, on the board here with the Bears, this is definitely an intriguing position. Will Campbell is still on the board, so that is fun for the Bears. I just don't think that, they traded for Joe Thuney, so you don't need to go after an interior. I think really right tackle is probably your biggest need. Maybe trading up for Armand Membo is the move. They signed Drew Dolman, so I don't know. I think or it's left tackle, not right tackle that they need, because they have Braxton Jones out there. They just took Darnell Wright, but Braxton Jones is the guy out there at left tackle that you're looking to replace. I don't think Will Campbell's going to stick at tackle, personally. So I wouldn't be leaning that way. I think taking a running back is possible. If Ashton Genty falls here, he's probably the pick. Omarion Hampton is also someone that could be the pick here. I think it's probably going to steer away from the defensive side of the ball with Ben Johnson as the new coach. I think Omari and Hampton is probably the move. Looking at what the Lions did when they took Jahmyr Gibbs, they did trade back to 12, and then they were looking to move back up for Jahmyr. But this could be actually a similar situation. I think this might be my first trade. Looking here, Will Campbell is on the board here, and who might trade up to jump the 49ers to get Will Campbell? Maybe the Seattle Seahawks. Maybe the Seattle Seahawks looking to get a left guard with versatility, trying to jump their division rival. Could also be the Cardinals looking to jump their division rival. John Schneider has never traded up before, so I think Cardinals are the more likely candidate. Will Grier doesn't address offensive line really. That's not something he does, especially not in the first round. He's not going to value a guard here. And even if they view Will Campbell as a tackle, they just took Patrick Paul in the second last season, and he is a left tackle. People are very obsessed with the Dolphins taking a left tackle here in the first round, and I just don't understand it. Grier is not going to give up on a left tackle that you drafted in the second last year. It's just not going to happen. You could also look maybe trade up, jump the Cowboys for Tet McMillan. But sitting here, I think Will Campbell is going to be the guy I'm going to jump up for, and I am going to trade with the Cardinals here. I think what's probably, you know what I should have done? Let me pull up the NFL trade value chart so that I could see the value for these trades. So moving from 16 up to 10, it looks like the value is probably a very late second. So I could look to throw in. Okay, I see this here. I'm gonna throw in pick 78 here, and then I am also gonna throw in a future fourth, and that should be about equivalent value. We're gonna force the trade because we have to in order for PFF to accept it. So Cardinals are gonna move up and get Will Campbell to be their starting left guard. I'm not a big believer in Evan Brown. They re-signed him to a cheap 1-year deal, I believe, and I don't think he's going to be their guy going forward. He is kind of young, so he could work out, but I think Evan Brown and Jake Curhan are the left guards right now. Just get this blue chip guy to come in and be your left guard. Just do it. It's the move. You got to make it. So now we're sitting here on the board for the San Francisco 49ers. Maybe they had Will Campbell in mind. They did take a significant step back this offseason. They lost a lot of players. Didn't sign many. They have, I think, Ben Barch as their starting left guard. They do have Dominic Pooney on that right side, who is good. They still have Trent Williams. Could be looking for a potential successor for him. So looking around here, you could do something intriguing by taking Tyler Warren. George Kittle is older. He's not going to be in the league forever, so he is an option. But I think I am. Will Johnson is also definitely an option. They lost Diamador Lenore, and so he is absolutely an option here. But I think I'm going to look. San Francisco values linebackers. They have Fred Warner, who's their second guy, D. Winters. D. Winters did step in and play decent this past season, but I think with Fred Warner aging, they have the chance to get this real blue chip guy with very high upside, very good motor. He has just great athletic ability. He is a top 10 player on my board. This is just great value here at pick 11, and I think getting Jihad Campbell at 11 is the move for the 49ers. And now Cowboys are sitting on the board here. Tet McMillan is here. I don't think that you pass on Tet McMillan. This is just such phenomenal value. Tet is still I think he's still a top 5 player on my board. Might be a little bit lower, but he's still top 10 for sure. He is just falling so much, and I hate it. He's a real great guy. CeeDee Lamb gets about half of his snaps from the slot, so getting a big-bodied receiver to play on the boundary would be a really, really good move for the Cowboys. So that's going to be my pick here. I don't have to think about it very much. And Jerry Jones just cares about ticket sales. Getting a stud wide receiver, that's gonna boost your ticket sales for sure. Now sitting on the board here, I might try something very interesting. Jalen Ramsey, it seems like he is definitely going to be traded. I don't think he'll be on the Dolphins this upcoming season. They have Storm Duck as their other starting corner right now. They have Cam Smith, of course, who they took I think in the second a few years ago. They did sign Artie Burns this offseason, but really, even if they weren't going to trade Jalen Ramsey, getting Will Johnson here is fantastic. They're running that Mike McDonald scheme, so they need a corner that's really good in zone, and Will Johnson provides that. I am gonna flirt around with the idea of a Jalen Ramsey trade here, and looking at who could get Jalen Ramsey. Potentially the Panthers, but they took Jahdae Barron. They're not going to trade for a corner here. Look, maybe the Giants, but they took a corner as well. I'm going to go with, I think, the Raiders here to trade for Jalen Ramsey. Pete Carroll can get a really talented corner to throw on that defense. So let's go and select Jalen Ramsey here. I think maybe a fourth will. He'll probably get a fourth. Maybe you could do a pick swap. Like I don't think 68 is gonna work. I think maybe if they throw in 68, I think Dolphins would have to get like Dolphins would have to give like 116 back. I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna do a fourth round pick and potentially a future pick as well. So we'll just throw that in. Jalen Ramsey to the Raiders for 108 and a future, we'll go future fifth round pick. So Raiders get a very talented corner who is older. Dolphins are just looking to ship him out. They get a fourth and a fifth for him. Now, Dolphins can take Will Johnson to be their cornerback one of the future. I really like that pick here. Now this one, tight end seems to be the consensus here for the Colts. I love Tyler Warren. I just don't get going with tight end for them. I mean, they have Jelani Woods, they have Mo Alley Cox, they have Will Mallory, who I liked a lot coming out. They have Drew Ogletree. Some solid tight ends. They don't have any stars or anything, but looking at their quarterback situation, I think Anthony Richardson is probably poised to be the starter. And is he really gonna need that tight end? I think you look at Anthony Richardson when he rolls around the pocket, he just wants to take off. He doesn't like to throw on the run. Does he need that big-bodied target to help him out? I honestly don't know. You already have problems getting all of your receivers involved. Anthony Richardson look at how many times he's throwing per game. He's throwing, 20 times per game? 20, 25 times per game? And then Daniel Jones is behind him. He's not going to be doing much more than that. Do you really want to spend a first-round pick on a tight end that you're going to have to really worry about getting targets? I don't know. I think I might still take Tyler Warren. It's just looking at the needs of this team, I don't know if that's the best option. I think you could look at tackle. They have Braden Smith, who has very serious concerns, I think, at right tackle. You have Bernard Ryman starting at left tackle. I don't think I'm gonna take. I don't think I'm gonna take Tyler Warren here. I think I'm gonna take Kelvin Banks to play left tackle right now, could potentially shift over to the right side or on the interior. I think that's going to be my move here. I'm going to take Kelvin Banks to the Colts here. Could shift into the interior if they want to right now. Could be a franchise tackle. Now, sitting on the board here, we have the Falcons, who could be looking to move back. They don't have many picks. So I am going to try a trade back. Tyler Warren fell. He fell past the Colts. And I think Bears could easily take a tight end here. So who's going to move up? Could be the Broncos. Could also be the Chargers. I don't know if the Chargers would trade up for Warren because Colston Loveland is probably Harbaugh's guy. I am going to move up with the Broncos. Let's try this from pick 20 to 15. Let's see that value here. Pick 20 to 15 is about a mid-third round pick. So let's see what we can do there. And we got 85. Perfect value here. Let's do it. Falcons pick up a third-round pick, which they did not originally have. And Broncos sitting here. Sean Payton loves his tight ends. We know that. They signed Evan Ingram, but Sean Payton is all about manipulation. That is his game. He's all about manipulation, and I think maybe he signed Evan Ingram to make other teams think, oh, he's not going after a tight end. They got Evan Ingram. Well, he's all about mind games. Tyler Warren goes to the Broncos here at 15 after a big fall. Now, I did talk about it before. I am going to do it again. Omarion Hampton here at number 16. They trade back, pick up some extra picks, and they are able to get Omarion Hampton, their top guy here, to the Bears. Now, looking at the Bengals here, this is an interesting pick. They could definitely address safety. Geno Stone is not very good. So I think addressing the defense is probably the way to go. They could also address offensive line. I would probably rather address the defense so Joe Burrow doesn't have to put up 40 points a game to maybe win. I think their defensive interior is fine. They got TJ Slayton, re-signed BJ Hill. They just took Chris Jenkins in the second last year. I think they might be good on edge if they can get Trey Hendrickson extended. I think they are looking to trade him, but they have Joseph Osai. They do have Miles Murphy. He hasn't gotten going. They just took Cedric Johnson. So looking at it here, I think safety is probably the option here. They have Jordan Battle right now. They did take Dijon Anthony and Jalen Key. But right now, Geno Stone is their starting free safety. I think Malachi Starks could be a very interesting pick here. And that is one I think I am going to make. Where is Starks? Starks is right up here at pick 9. That at number 9, that is what I'm going to do. Malachi Starks to the Bengals there. Now, on the board for the Seahawks, offensive line is an option. Kelvin Banks isn't on the board anymore, but you could look at Josh Simmons maybe moving to the interior and being a franchise tackle for the future. You could look at Kenneth Grant on the interior, get him in that nose tackle role to really take Byron Murphy out of that nose tackle role, move him over to 3-tech. Could also look at Matthew Golden, who has fallen a little bit. Jalen Walker has fallen quite a bit just because of, I think, positional value, and I do think Jihad Campbell is a better linebacker than Jalen Walker. But Seahawks on the clock here, I think Kenneth Grant is probably going to be best player available, and I'm going to take him here, kind of free up Byron Murphy. Now, Buccaneers on the clock here, and we just mentioned him. Jalen Walker is probably BPA here for the Buccaneers. Mike Green is definitely an option. Getting an edge could be something that the Buccaneers are looking to do. I think they should target edge in the top 100 of this draft because really, who do they have at edge? They have Anthony Walker Jr. or no, they have. I think he's on the interior. I know they have Hassan Reddick. They did get him. I think they have Yaya Diaby playing out at edge too. So edge is definitely somewhere where they could target. But yeah, I mentioned him. Anthony Walker is one of their starting inside linebackers now. They have Levante David and Servakia Dennis, but Jalen Walker here is a very good option. Could play some snaps at edge and linebacker. I'm going to take Jalen Walker here. I think he is BPA at number 19. Now, number 20, another spot where edge is a very good pick, and this is what I would do. Falcons don't take edges. They just don't take edges in the first. They won't do it. But I'm going to do it because they need an edge. They desperately need an edge. They have Arnold Ebiketie and Leonard Floyd as their starting edges right now. I know they have Braylon Trice, but he is injured. Let's see what happens with him. They did take Caden Ellis, I think, and he could definitely play on the edge. But Mike Green is someone that's very interesting. I think Donovan Azuruwaku is really fun. But looking at the tools, it's very hard for me to pass on Shamar Stewart. Very big guy, and I just love his athleticism and his potential. I am going to take Shamar Stewart here to the Falcons at pick number 20. Now we're on the board here at pick 21. And, Chargers really could use a wide receiver that can play on the outside. I think Ladd McConkey is going to take most of his snaps from the slot. Quentin Johnston hasn't panned out. They could be looking to move off of him. So I think a team could move up, try to jump the Chargers here for Matthew Golden. And who would be doing that? Potentially the Packers. I don't think Packers are ever going to move up for a wide receiver. But you could also look at the Rams, who lost Cooper Kupp, moving up for maybe Emeka as a slot guy. And I think that's something I'm going to attempt here, is the Rams moving up from 26 to 21 to secure their next edge guy. I think that would take probably pick 101, a very, very late third. So I'm going to do that here. Rams move up, and Rams are going to get Emeka Egbuka to be that slot receiver for them. Puka does take some snaps in the slot, but they lost Cooper Kupp, who did play mainly in the slot. And I am going to take Emeka here, be that next guy for them. I think he's really, really fun on the Rams. Unfortunately, as a Seahawks fan, that really sucks. But I think it works. I think it's a very good pick for them. You could argue Luther Burden. I just have Emeka a lot higher on my board than Luther. All right, now we're on the board here with the Chargers. They can't take Emeka, which they probably wouldn't have, but it does take Emeka away from the Chargers and the Packers here. So I think they're going to look at tight end with Colston Loveland still on the board here. I think he's a very, very good pick. They do need tight end somewhat desperately. And he did go to Michigan with Harbaugh. He is a Harbaugh guy. They have Will Dissly as their number one, and he kind of flubbed in the playoffs. They did sign Tyler Conklin. I still don't think that's enough. They get a good receiver here. They have two blocking tight ends. Excuse me. They have two blocking tight ends, and Colston Loveland gives them that receiving upside with a relatively high floor. I'm going to take Loveland here to the Chargers. Now looking at the Packers, they could absolutely take an edge. I just think it would be a little bit redundant looking at what the Packers have currently on their roster and what they've done in the past. I mean, they took Lucas Van Ness pretty early. I think a bit of an overdraft. A couple drafts ago, they also took Kingsley and Agbari. They have Rashawn Gary still. I think they could get a fourth edge in the second or third. But I just don't think it's necessary in the first unless like Mykel Williams falls to them. Then I think it might be might be a good option for them. You could look at wide receiver, absolutely. They have serious injury concerns with all of their receivers, Christian Watson, Romeo Doubs, and they really just have a lot of wide receiver twos. They don't have a solid wide receiver one. I don't know if Matthew Golden would provide that solid wide receiver one. I think if Tetairoa McMillan somehow falls to 23, yeah, you take him. Maybe you could think about Jaden Higgins if you trade back a little bit, or Alec Ayumaner. But I don't know. I don't think I'm going to do that here. You could look at safety. They have Evan Williams as their starting safety right now, and Nick Emanwari is still on the board. Or you could also look at cornerback, and that's probably where I'm going to go here at cornerback. I think Trey Amos is a good fit, but I think the perfect fit is probably Azareye'h Thomas going here to the Packers. I am going to take Azareye'h Thomas. Jair Alexander, I think they're still trying to get him out of here. He's probably a post June 1st release at this point, and Keyshawn Nixon is their other boundary corner starting there. So I do think they desperately need cornerback. Now Vikings, this is a team I am looking to trade back, and I'm going to look at a team like the Chiefs looking to trade up. Josh Simmons is on the board, and Chiefs desperately need help. I mean, we saw in the Super Bowl, Patrick Mahomes was nearly killed. They were forced to move Joe Thuney out to left tackle because of injuries, and yeah, it didn't work. They desperately need to trade up for that franchise guy at left tackle. And let me see the value here, moving from 24 back to 31. That is going to net about a mid to late third. So I am gonna throw in pick 95, and then maybe do a pick swap here. Whoops, they could get a future fourth. Minnesota throws in a future fifth, just to move up a little bit, and we're gonna force this trade. Kansas City is going to move up and select Josh Simmons to be their starting left tackle here. Really good move. We've seen in the past KC is willing to move up to get players they really like, and they're moving up to jump one of their biggest rivals in the Texans. Now, Texans sitting here, I do think O-line is still a position they have to go after. But you do also have to take into account DeMeco Ryans is a defensive coach. He could still be looking to fix that defensive line. I would really prefer going after offensive line. Josh Simmons would have been a great pick. They do have Cam Robinson as their left tackle right now. Whew. I got a dry ass throat right now. I think Laken Tomlinson is their starting left guard. They have Juice Scruggs starting for them. So overall, it's a mess on their O-line. You could always look to defense, but I mean, they got CJ Gardner-Johnson. They, maybe they could look to take a nickel. That's not Jalen Petrie. But really, I think they're solid on defense. I think really O-line and getting a big-bodied receiver is where they need to be. They did get Christian Kirk, of course. So I think looking on the interior is an option, and I think Donovan Jackson is going to be the route that I go here. He's really, really fun. You could also look at Ariante Ursary, who could play left tackle probably. But Donovan Jackson, I think, is a first-round player easily. He's the best pure left guard in this class. I think he steps in, and Laken Tomlinson can just be a solid backup there for them. Now, sitting here at 26 are the Steelers. Now, they lost Najee Harris, and so I think Omarion Hampton could be fun if he falls there. He did not get close. So looking at this with the Steelers, they could definitely address the defensive interior. I think that's where they should go. They just took Keanu Benton in the draft. But Cam Hayward is not going to be there forever. He just won't. He won't be. And there isn't really anyone next to Cam Hayward that I feel comfortable with rolling forward. So I think you could look on the interior. Walter Nolan is a solid pick, but seeing as how you do have Cam Hayward now, you could take someone with a bit of a lower floor but more upside, allow him to develop behind Cam Hayward, and that is going to be Derek Harmon here to the Steelers. I think that is a very good pick for them. Now on the board here, lots of good players here. Ravens typically tend to go with best player available, and you could be looking to get a really good 1-2 punch, someone next to Kyle Hamilton that will really really be good for them. I'm looking at Nick Emanwari, who is probably best player available here for the Ravens. You could slot him in right next to Kyle Hamilton, and I think this is just best player available. Great pickup there for the Ravens. Now sitting on the clock here are the Lions, and I'm going to look at edge. We have a lot of good edges falling here. I think Donovan Ezeraku is probably going to be my pick here. Really, really solid pass rusher here. And, Aiden Hutchinson, don't know how he's going to come back from that injury. And Josh Paschal is, I think, their second edge right now. You do have Marcus Davenport. So I think Donovan Ezeraku is going to be my pick here at 28 for the Lions. I think that's a really good value pick, and he seems like a good guy to have in Detroit. Now on the board here for the Commanders, Matthew Golden is falling. He is falling, and I think this is probably going to be BPA here. Matthew Golden fell quite a bit. He had an electric combine, and I think they need to get someone next to Scary Terry. Matthew Golden is going to be the pick here. Don't need to talk about it too much. He's just a great grab there for the Commanders. Now here on the clock, we got the Bills, and look who fell to us. Now all these people are falling, and we are taking them off the board. I think Walter Nolan probably goes to the Vikings, if not the Bills here. This is just a really, really solid pick for the Bills, getting Walter Nolan. You look on their defensive line. They have Greg Rousseau and Joey Bosa on the edge, so I don't think that's a place of need. But they do have Ed Oliver, of course, on the interior, and Daquan Jones, who I think should be relegated to a rotational role. You get Walter Nolan, put him in there as a starter, and have Daquan Jones and Dwayne Carter kind of rotating in. Of course, Larry Ogunjobi is suspended, so that is another reason why addressing the interior is a great move for the Bills here. Now, sitting on the board, the Vikings, you look at their draft capital, they have 5 picks. They could be looking to move back again. And who could be looking to move up? Maybe the Bengals looking to get, Al Golden, one of his guys, with Ben Morrison or Xavier Watts. Maybe someone in need of a receiver looking to trade up for Luther Burden, although I don't think a slot receiver is really worth it here. But you could be looking to trade up for maybe an Alec Iomaner or a Jaden Higgins. And I am probably looking at someone to trade up here. I think I might be looking at the Raiders to make a move up. They did just trade a fourth for Jalen Ramsey. But the Raiders could definitely, if they're looking to make a push now, they do have an older QB with Geno Smith, could be looking to make a push now. And moving up and really building a winning team for Pete Carroll here. So that would take about a 4th round pick, and it was the 4th round pick that they traded. So I think you could throw in 143. I think that's fine value, just tossing that in, and then a future pick. So I think 143, and then you probably have to throw in a future 4th round pick. I'm going to go with a 2027 4th round pick here. and that is probably enough. Vikings pick up another pick in this draft, and Raiders are going to move up for Jaden Higgins. Pete Carroll maybe gets his DK Metcalf type guy. Dogs are barking now. Now, last pick in this video, we're sitting here with the Eagles, and let's see who. Oh, I got like police sirens going by my house, probably while my dogs are barking. So sitting here, offensive line is probably the route I'm going to go with the Eagles. They usually just sit here and take best player available. I think Jonah Savaiania is possibly a good pick for them. I think looking for someone maybe a bit more developmental, like Jared Wilson, could be a pick. They could end up taking him in the second. But really, I think Gray Zabel is really fun. I think he could be a guy that develops at left guard or center very nicely for them. Probably best player available on the offensive line here. I'm going to take Gray Zabel for the Eagles here. Just get in that stout U, and I think they have a very good offensive line. All right, that is going to do it for this video. First round complete, and then we will finish rounds 2 and 3 tomorrow. Hope you guys enjoyed. See you all tomorrow for that day 2 mock, and then hopefully you guys can join me. I am doing a walk the mock stream, I believe on Tuesday, so that will be a live stream, so tune into that. I'll be doing a 7-round Seahawks walk the mock draft, and then I will of course be live streaming all 3 days of the draft. Hope you guys enjoyed. See y'all in the next video. Later.